Good morning, everyone. My name is Karen Ingaod. My topic for today is about development of portfolio assessment. First, we have to define what is portfolio. Portfolio is a compilation of academic work and other forms of educational evidence, um, evaluating coursework, quality learning progress, and academic achievement, determining whether students have met learning standards or other academic requirements for courses or grade level. Portfolio assessment refers to the assessment that utilizes portfolio to assess and evaluate students' performance. It is not only a type of assessment or assessment item, but rather a compilation of student work. Portfolio assessment asked by students or teachers to collect work products that show growth over a specific period of time. Introduction to portfolio assessment. A portfolio is a purposeful collection of student work that exhibits the student efforts, progress, and achievements in one or more areas. It enables students reflect their real performance and to show their weakness and strong domain and to observe students' progress during the learning process, and also encourages students to take responsibilities for their own learning. Um, okay. Features and principles of portfolio assessment. Mm. A portfolio is a form of assessment that students do together with their teacher. Um, the teacher serves as a guide for the students' planning, execution, and evaluation. Both the teacher and the learner formulate the overall objectives for constructing the portfolio. So, si teacher ang nagpa-plan how to do with the portfolio, kung ano ang ilalagay doon sa portfolio, kung anong mga subjects, mga test ba or mga quizzes or about arts ba ang ilalagay doon. So, si students naman nag-e-execute and the teacher also will evaluate after or later na over the period of time. Number two, a portfolio represents a selection of what the students believe are best included from among the possible collection of things related to the concept being studied. It is the teacher's responsibility to assist the students in actual choosing from among a possible set of choices to be included in the portfolio. So, si teacher, like for example, sa subject na science, ang gusto niyang ilalagay doon is yung mga quizzes and mga test papers uh, with the first grading or the second grading and so forth. So si teacher yung nagsasabi kung ano ang ilagay doon, and si teacher din yung nag-a-assist sa estudyante niya. The third is a portfolio provides samples of the student's work which show growth over time. Um, Like what I have said, si teacher yung nagdesisyon kung ano ang ilagay doon, like mga test and quizzes. So, doon makikita ni teacher kung ang isang learner ay nag-grow ba or may improvement siya sa kanya mga ginagawa. Like for example, sa first grading, kung nag-improve ba siya doon sa second grading o hindi. The criteria for selecting and assessing the portfolio contents must be clear to the teacher and the students at the outset of the process. If the criteria are not clear at the beginning, then there is a tendency to include unessential components in the portfolio and to include those which happen to be available at the time the portfolio is prepared. So baka dapat si teacher malinaw na yung instruction na yung mga quizzes and the test lang yung ilagay sa portfolio. Baka pag hindi klaro yung instruction ni teacher doon, baka yung hindi pa na-prepare yung portfolio, yung mga nakaraan pang mga quizzes and test yung nailagay doon. So, parang magkahalo-halo, hindi siya pwede. Okay. Next is the purpose of portfolio assessment. Portfolio assessment matches assessment to um, teaching. Purpose of portfolio assessment. Portfolio is a form of, wait lang. Um, the purpose of portfolio assessment. I'm sorry for that. Portfolio assessment matches assessment in teaching. Um, okay. Um, Before that pala, what is the purpose of portfolio assessment? Purpose of portfolio assessment enables students to reflect their real performance and encourages students to take responsibilities for their own learning. Um, Portfolio assessment matches assessment to teaching. The portfolio becomes a product that was accumulated from classroom discussions, involvement, and participation of learners. Portfolio assessment is not only limited to measuring the cognitive level, but also assess the abilities formed by the student during class engagements. So, the portfolio assessment and matches assessment to teaching. So, like for example, si teacher, yung topic ni teacher is for today is about living and non-living things. So, dapat yung nasa portfolio niya, um, output niya noong lesson niya ng living and non-living things. So, the second one is portfolio assessment has a clear goals. As a matter of fact, portfolios are being planned, discussed, and agreed from a very beginning of instruction. So, like what I have said earlier, kailangan klaro sa estudyante or sa learners na kung ano ang ilalagay doon sa portfolio. Like, quizzes lang ba or mga drawing lang ba or mga tests lang ba ang ilalagay doon. The end goals are clear, so as to what type of product must be submitted. The contents, it must contain format and so on. In this type of assessment, students are the control of what items to include and therefore are assured that the goals are achieved. So yun na nga, so kailangan klaro ang goal ng teacher at para yung instruction ni teacher para masunod ng learners niya kung ano yung ilalagay doon sa portfolio. Portfolio assessment gives a profile of learners in terms of depth, breadth, and growth. Okay. um, the portfolio assessment gives the profile of a learners. Like for example, kung gaano ba nag-improve yung estudyante niya, kung gaano ba kalawak yung magagawa ng kanyang estudyante. Breed is it show the different skills and ability of the student and the growth, development, and improvement of the learner student. Next is um, portfolio assessment develops awareness of students or own learning. Nasabi ko na rin kanina, it is the responsibility of the students. It is his or her duty to their own learning. Kung halimbawa, mababa ang kanyang score ngayon or yung nakuha niya, dapat make sure na sa next he or she have this determination na matuto at tumaas pa yung score niya. Next is portfolio assessment caters to individuals in heterogeneous class. Heterogeneity inside the classroom varies from the walks of life, abilities, intelligence, or even learning styles. With this, the flexibility of this assessment encompasses an open-ended type of assessment which demonstrates the ability of our students in their particular level in terms of different learning styles and expressions. So, like what I have said, when we say heterogeneous, different phases, like for example, inside the classroom, iba-iba yung subject. So, makikita natin doon kung mas magaling ba siya sa math compared doon sa science na subject or mas magaling ba siya sa science compared doon sa Filipino. So, next is portfolio assessment develops social skills. Um, Peers have this great contribution in the planning, development, and evaluation of the portfolio. With this, students tend to interact with peers, students, and teachers in order to create collaborative effort in achieving the goal set. Like for example, we have this portfolio. 'Di ba when we get a low score, nagtatanong tayo sa ating mga kaibigan or sa ating classmates na, "Uy, ilan yung nakuha mo? Bakit ganito pala?" So, you interact with your peer or your classmates. You interact also with your teacher. Like for example, nagpagawa si teacher ng essay writing. So, essay. So, sabi, teacher, bakit ganito lang yung score na kuha ko? So, sasabihin ni teacher, um, example, dapat dito ka lang nag-focus kasi yung topic natin is about matter. Huwag kang pumunta doon sa carbon dioxide. So, parang hindi naman siguro yung tugma. So, ano yung ma-realize ng kanyang learners na, ganun pala yun. Kaya, ano pala, ganito pala. So, si teacher nagbibigay ng advice, dapat next time, kung ano yung topic, doon lang tayo mag-focus. Okay? So, next is that portfolio assessment develops independent and active learners. Students must select and justify portfolio choices. This shows the vital role of each students in personally involving themselves in the planning, development, execution, and evaluation of the portfolio. So, yung estudyante or yung learners, nagiging active siya. So, parang yung mindset niya, nakafocus doon. So, dapat, galingan ko next time kasi ganito lang yung score na nakuha ko. Mababa lang yung ratings ko dito. Dapat next na mag-aaral ako mabuti, magbabasa pa ako. So, it makes her or his mind na active and determinado siya na matuto pa to give more of the best for himself or herself. Next is portfolio assessment. Portfolio assessment can improve motivation for learning and thus achievement. Students are empowered and becomes highly motivated when they are involved and if they can prove their own achievement and worth. Yun na nga nabanggit ko kanina na di lang magiging active yung mind or yung physical na ano ng isang learners, mamomotivate din siya kasi na ano, like for example, yung classmate niya high score tapos siya medyo low score lang, so mamotivate siya na dapat galingan ko kasi mababa lang yung score ko, dapat dagdagan ko pa yung pagbabasa or dagdagan ko pa yung pagiging ano ko, focus ko dito sa part na ito or sa subject na ito. Next is portfolio assessment provides opportunity for student-teacher dialogue. This assessment enables teachers to get to know their students more. The goal setting present, the goal setting present in portfolio enables teacher and students to have joint effort in achieving the goals. Like nabanggit ko na rin kanina, like for example, yung relationship ng teacher and yung students, nagkakaroon sila ng dialogue or nagkakaroon sila ng social interaction katulad ng nabanggit din kanina because doon din si teacher, sa pamamagitan din ng portfolio assessment, malalaman ni teacher o ma-evaluate ni teacher na si ano pala medyo may kaunting problema sa ganitong subject. Okay, kailangan pa siguro nating i-push ng kaunti yung pagtuturo o pag-explain para maintindihang mabuti, or mas marami bang hindi nakapasa or mas marami bang nakapasa. So, malalaman ni teacher na yung mga estudyante niya medyo magaling doon sa isang subject na yun or sa iba pang mga subject. To have joint effort in achieving the goal. So, pwede nga, like for example, mag-interact or makipag-usap kay teacher or si teacher doon sa estudyante na dapat ganito, focus. And the teacher also will do her or his very best para ma-improve din yung estudyante. So, masasabi natin yung portfolio assessment is a joint ano ba yun, parang both teacher and the students na mag-cooperate para magiging mag-improve pa yung learners, and also si teacher naging improve na din yung kanyang in terms of pagtuturo po. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm Gretchen Antixe, and I'm going to discuss first is about the essential elements of the portfolio. The given overview, this is the list of essential elements of the portfolio. We have cover letter, table of contents, entries, dates, drafts, and reflections. To further elaborate, the first one is the cover letter. Cover letter is a summary of the evidence of students' learning in progress. It contains the summary of evidences of the students' learning in progress. It is usually written at the end and put out at the beginning of the portfolio. The second one is the table of contents. Table of contents is the list of items or parts of the portfolio with numbered pages. So it is a list of entries that usually found in the page before the start of the portfolio. It gives the reader the overview of the portfolio's content, and moreover, it allows the reader to go there directly into specific entry. And the third essential elements are the entries. This can either be core or optional entries. The core entries contains items that the students must include. It will provide the common base from which to make decisions on the assessments. On the other hand, optional entries are the items that will allow students to display uniqueness. It includes the best pace or the item that give to the students. And the portfolio must include dates and drafts. The purpose of including dates and drafts is to facilitate the proof of growth over time. And for the last element, we have reflections. This contains a brief rationale of what the student feels about his or her progress, relate about their performance, and alike. It explains the significance of individual work samples. It takes inside someone else's thinking and capture the best and worst moment of the learning process. In addition, in addition to that, it provides powerful conclusion to the story told by the portfolio. Moving on, we have the stages and implementing portfolio assessment. The following are the stages in the implementation of portfolio assessment in classrooms. First is identifying teaching goals to assess through portfolio. Second is introducing the idea of portfolio assessment to your class. Third is specification of portfolio content. The fourth is giving clear and detailed guidelines for portfolio presentation. The fifth is the informing case school officials, parents, and other stakeholders. And the last is development of the portfolio. And identifying the teaching goals to assess through portfolio. The very first step in organizing a portfolio assessment is to establish teaching goals. It is very important that at this stage the goals are clear. These goals will guide the learners in the selection and assessment of students' work for the portfolio. The second stage is introducing the idea of portfolio assessment to your class. Portfolio as a part of performance assessment or the alternative assessment. Students are more acquainted of the traditional mode of assessment, thus explaining to the students how it works, what needs to be done, and how will they be assessed. And the third stage is the specification of portfolio content. In this stage, it must be specified to them what they have to include in their portfolio. And also, it is specified for each entry how each entry will be assessed. The scoring rubrics which will be used in performing the task must also be presented to the students. And the fourth stage is giving clear and detailed guidelines for portfolio presentation. There is a tendency for a student to present as many evidence of learning as they can when left on their own. That the teacher must therefore add clear guidelines and detailed information on how the portfolios will be presented. It is informing case, school officials, parents, and other stakeholders. It is important that it is notified the department head, dean, or principal. This serves as a precaution in case students will later complain about the new assessment procedure. And the last stage is the development of the portfolio. The support of the teachers to the students in creating the portfolio is necessary. With this, teachers can achieve this with the emphasis of teamwork in the development of the portfolio. Some of the class time be devoted to student-teacher dialogues and conferences with other teachers in relation to the task of preparing the portfolio. And we move on in the types of portfolio. These are the types of portfolio. The first one is the documentation portfolio. The second one is the process portfolio, and the last is showcase portfolio. Documentation portfolio. It is the name implies this approach involves a conflection of work over time showing growth and improvement reflecting students' learning or identified outcomes. The This portfolio is also called as the growth portfolio. This portfolio must include the weakest and best output of the learner, thus scratch papers, drafts to finished products, and documents must be included. And the second one is the process portfolio. This portfolio, in contrast, demonstrates all facets or phases of the learning process. This contains an extensive number of reflective journals, think logs, and other related forms of metacognitive processing. This is very useful as this shows how students integ- integrate specific knowledge or skills and progress towards both basic and advanced mastery. And the last one is the showcase portfolio. This portfolio, this portfolio only shows the best work through the help of future student selection of the students' outputs and products. With this, it is a type of portfolio is best used for summative evaluation of students' mastery of K curriculum outcomes. Completed work should be included. And we have assessing and evaluating the portfolio. First is truthfulness, including evidence of students' monitoring of their own comprehension, metacognitive reflection, and productive habits of mind. Second is growth and development in the relationship to K curriculum expectancies and indicators. Third is understanding and application of K process. The fourth one is the completeness, correctness, and appropriateness of products and processes presented in the portfolio. And the last one is diversity of entries. For instance, use of multiple formats to demonstrate achievement. In assessing and evaluating the portfolio, teacher and students must work together and agree on the criteria to be applied. This must be agreed prior to the development of the portfolio. This criteria will be students' guide and the teacher of assessors basis in checking or evaluating the portfolio. That's all of my report, and thank you.